What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, More Blood and Plunder, as we take a look at another of the unaligned forces here today with the second of the two Portuguese lists. That is the Portuguese-Brazilian Tercios and Militia, roughly again 1630 all the way out to 1720. Some interesting backstory on that as well, so well worth reading up on that even beyond what's in the book. But we have a lot going on in the list here, and it's another one of those cool ones that actually gives us some force options. So we'll jump in and explain all the possibilities that you can kind of get with this force as a general overview. So right off the bat, every core unit, and we have plenty of choices here, gets drilled for free, so no extra points there. And basically drilled just lets us, if we're in formation, take shooting actions as dedicated actions with all the normal bonuses associated with that, which again, we'll start covering special rules and all that in a special separate series of videos. But it's nice to have sort of a force-wide rule there for all these core units. And really, you can get by with running nothing but core in here, and you don't have to necessarily dip into support. Another little trick that we get is that the Milicianos Indios in the force can exchange their bows for firelock muskets as main weapons at no cost. So again, nice when we don't have to pay for weapon swaps or anything like that. So, and then the nice thing there is they're also core. So, you know, we could, again, when we're switching over to gunpowder here, and then also essentially with them having drilled makes them a really interesting variant of that common Spanish unit. Speaking of units, we get plenty of choices here. We're quite spoiled in this list. So in a lot of European flavored units here specifically, now most of them tend to be European origin anyway, from the different nationalities like Spanish here heavily. But when we say European in the context of this, the specifically European named units. So core, we get European soldiers, we get European militia or milicianos if we want to run Spanish. We get the aforementioned Milicianos Indios, again from the Spanish, European militia, cavalry, but then also Caballera Lanceros from the Spanish. So some really potent all-around units there, especially on the cavalry side. And then for support, we can bring in some additional good hitters here. European pikemen can always be useful, European artillery crew, or European sailors should we dip into some naval battles. And then another kind of funky one here, Jewish militia. Now we do get some basic command options here. We could go with any sea commander or any European commander or special character if we want to run Francisco Barreto de Meneses, which again, we'll cover all the characters in another series coming up down the road. But as we mentioned at the top of the video, force options, always fun when we have that, because again, we have so many cool variables that we can do here with some of the weapon swaps, right, with the Indios, and then just playing around with the concept of largely our army that's going to take advantage of drilled in as many viable situations as possible, just to get those devastating hits in. But here we can play around yet more with this. So we can go with Guarda Costas. So this force may include European sailors as core units and marineros, Spanish as support units, if it does not include any European militia cavalry or European artillery crew. So if we leave a few things out here, basically we have access to more of the quality sailor units. So think of it that way, we're building sort of a coastal, as because Guarda Costas, sort of coastal force here that occasionally does some battles on the seas, and so we get to supplement here to our army list in its entirety just for leaving a few things out. So pretty cool stuff here. Then finally, the other option, Jewish militia. The force may take Jewish militia as a core unit if it includes, so again, here we're going to swap out from support, potentially. So if it includes at least 2 units of Jewish militia, easy enough to do. We could always run minimums, and includes no European soldiers and no European militia cavalry. So we do get a little bit of a tax there. So we'll have to, kind of debate if it's worth getting the Jewish militia unit. We do have to take at least 2 of them. So we're already kind of committing a fair amount of points to that. Again, we could min-max kind of the approach that and just do the minimums to get them, or really go all in on that. But then we are giving up basically all the European branded things here. Now it says European soldiers, so I think we're just specifically that that specific unit, not necessarily the European militia, but we do have to give up the militia cavalry as well. But on the other hand, we still have caballeros, lanceros, so still pretty potent. So it's really just figuring out, do we want to be able to move the Jewish militia from support over to core? But again, some interesting force options here. So lots and lots of variables present in the list, and a great selection of units in general. But being able to swap things around, and then here even with the Guardicosis, just getting additional units for not running a few others. It's a really potent list as far as just options that we have. So, and then finally, if we were playing at army scale, of course, we would have the Portuguese Bandeirantes as allies, kind of a same thing that we saw with those guys, and then the South American tribes as well. So all in all, lots of things that we could be doing with this, and something, with these peripheral and unaligned lists here, really just getting access to some things that we don't necessarily see all the time on the tabletop for Blood and Plunder, really delving into some of those more, don't want to use the word esoteric, I don't think that'd be the right one here, but it's these just far less commonly played lists, but really worth delving into just for some of the options they present us, being able to put some things together that you wouldn't normally see on the tabletop with some of the other major factions, like the main major countries, Spain, England, France, etc., and just throwing that and interesting combinations at people as well. And this list, certainly will do a lot on land, but even some naval engagements here could be possible with it, and really surprise some people as well. So overall, really a fun one. I think we actually have most of the stuff to run this for ourselves too, so we might actually feature that on a battle report one of these days. Special rules, not necessarily super powerful. Drilled is really cool when used correctly, but again, this is just another one that presents a lot of options, but also some swaps, and that ability to customize and tailor it really to your heart's content then with these various swaps. So again, weapon swaps, unit swaps, aplenty. That's, I think, the bread and butter of this. But let us know, guys, if you've played the Portuguese-Brazilian Tercios and Militia. How did you go about building your list for various sized games? And what have you run up against? Where have you had success? And where do you find the list lacking, potentially? Or maybe it was more your choice, or could just be a bad matchup. Hit us up in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll have more Blood and Plunder for you very soon. Thanks for watching.